and Jeff. Okay, Jimmy, go ahead.
Okay. The Pledge of Allegiance will go to Adrian.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you. For the Scout Law, we'll go to Max.
Signs up. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2.
The Scout Oath will go to Philip.
Signs up. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to guard my country, to obey the Scout Law, and to help other people at all times, keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. 2.
The Outdoor Code will go to Gad.
Okay, signs up. Outdoor code. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, be careful with fire, be considerate in the outdoors, and be conservation minded. 2.
Okay, guys, we're going to talk about first what we're doing in the next few weeks so there's no surprises for you. Today, we're going to talk about the dangers of drugs. I got the wrong word there. I got drunks. The dangers of drugs, alcohol, and tobacco. Next week, we're going to talk about the dangers of wild animals in the Philippines. And I'll be adding something to that because that won't be enough to fill up the 1-hour class. And I don't think there's that many wild animals in the Philippines like we have in the States. On July 3, we've already completed the flag ceremony when you guys camped the hammers. There's another task that we have to complete, and it's investments and savings. And I'll probably explain that to you next week when we talk about the dangers of wild animals. On July 10th, we're going to have a class on outdoor ethics. On July 17th, I have question marks because we're going to be moving some of the schedule around because you finished quite a bit while you're doing your overnight camp, which is going to move the finish date for second class up a couple of weeks. For example, on July 24th, I have safe use of fire listed, but you may have already covered that. I'm waiting to get briefed if you've covered that or not when you guys did your marshmallow roasting. July 31 is no scout meeting. And then again on August 14th, right now, we have scheduled you'll be doing another one-night camp out. And we'll find out more details on that as we get closer. Next slide. Okay, now we need to play catch up. We haven't met for the last few weeks to do this. So I need some input from you guys where you're at on the different things you're supposed to be working on yourself. Okay, traffic safety, Philip, you finished, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Adrian, you finished?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
good. All right. Is there anyone else that finished traffic safety? Gab, did you finish yet?
Yes, I'm already finished.
You're already finished.
Yes.
Did you email all of the requirements to Mr. Sean?
Oh, not yet. I'll tell my mom later. Yeah. Just sleep
Okay.
right now.
How about try and get that done today, okay? Joshua, you finished, is that correct? Joshua's not here. All right, now we're gonna go down everyone, and I'm gonna ask you about how many PE physical training sessions you've done. Remember, as a second class, you have to complete 20 PE sessions, 20 days of PE. And that consists of 1 minute of push-ups, 1 minute of, 1 minute of sit-ups, 1 minute of push-ups, and a 1 mile run. But we altered the 1 mile run. Some of you guys, like Jimmy, who does swimming every day, he can count 15 minutes of swimming. Some of the other guys that ride bicycles, you can do the sit-ups, push-ups, and ride your bicycle for a minimum of 15 minutes. So now I'm going to go down the list of people that we have present today and find out where you're at so you can make sure you're getting your 20 sessions done. All right, AJ, how many sessions have you done?
18.
Okay. Tristan, how many sessions have you done?
Also 18.
Okay. Gab, how many have you done?
Sir Rick, I got canceled for a few days because I was sick after we got camped out on Jimmy's house. I got canceled, so I'm on 15. I still got 5 days.
You've got 15. Okay. Are you doing the 1 mile run or bicycle or swimming or
I'm
what?
doing the run.
What?
The run.
Okay, good. All right, Philip, how many have you done? Philip?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can I private message it to you?
Yeah, you can message me.
Okay.
Okay, Jimmy, how many have you done?
16.
Okay, 16. Adrian, how many have you done?
14.
Okay. Max, how many have you done?
14.
What are you doing, Max? Bicycle ride?
The 1 mile run.
So you measured a 1 mile track in your housing area. Is that right?
It's like across the street.
So you have
like.
go ahead.
I can say that again, sir. Rick.
You have a 1 mile track that you're using in your housing area?
Not at my house, but it's near our house.
Okay. All right. So 14. Ethan, how many for you?
17.
17. Okay. Did I miss anybody? And Jeff, I'm not going to ask you because you're past this stage. All right, merit badges. You guys should be looking at what merit badges you would like to earn while you're in the Boy Scouts. One of the ones we'll do in the future is shooting, which is an easy one for me to do it to you guys, but we have to be able to meet in order to complete that. There's the actual shooting part, and there's an online part, about a 1 hour class, almost the same. You guys were Cub Scouts. It's almost the same class. I got to tell you, I was a little disappointed last week when we went to JJ's house, and some of my previous Cub Scouts were running around not paying attention to safety rules with a BB gun. You guys that were there, I think you know who you are. It was, I had all I could do not to correct you guys. Anyway, you guys need to be thinking what merit badges you would like to earn. Does anybody have any suggestions right now? There's like 135 different merit badges. Some of you boys have earned 3 already. Some of you have earned 2. Okay, Ethan, that's a good one. Golf. I'll take a look at that and see how we can help you accomplish getting the merit badge in golf. Most of these merit badges concern some online schooling and then actual demonstrating whatever the task is. So you guys think about it and let me know what you want to do. Community service. Remember last time when we were earning tenderfoot, we had to do 1 hour community service. For second class, you have to do 2 hours community service, and I'm leaving it up to you guys to come up with your idea and do your community service and report to me. For example, Gab already completed his community service. He did an outreach helping hand out food to less fortunate people. He was given credit for that. So you other guys need to think about what you're going to do for your community service. All right, guys, today we're going to be talking about the dangers of drugs, alcohol, and tobacco. Normally you would watch this, you would have a class on this in school. I'm not sure if you do at this age or not in the Filipino schools. Drugs, alcohol, and tobacco are a big problem here in the Philippines. And we're going to be watching not 2 videos, but 3 videos. And after each video, we'll have a short discussion so you can give me your input if you have any personal experiences. Now, of course, you know these videos are going to be a little bit laggy, but they're slides, and you can read along with most of what is being said. So please keep your cameras on so I know you're awake and watching. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide and go to the first video. This one is the longest one. It's 9.5 minutes long. And it's going to explain to you the dangers of drug use, the different drugs that are out there that can cause you problems. So please pay attention. Let's go ahead and watch this video.
Hello and welcome to Teachings and Education. I am your narrator, Frank Alone. This presentation will cover a variety of different topics in relation to drug and alcohol abuses with students. Smoking and vaping are both quite addictive, dangerous, and harmful, but will not be covered in this presentation. So let's begin with a brief overview and introduction. Because students are still learning in this world, it is up to the adults to inform them of the dangers that come with using drugs. Drugs have the ability to affect a person's mood, their emotions, and overall personality, usually in a negative way. Many drug addicts and alcoholics slip into poverty. Research shows a direct relationship between drug addiction and economic struggles. there are a wide variety of health risks. It literally changes the way someone's brain functions. One statistic states that over 80% of individuals in jail have reported using drugs in an illicit manner. Next up, we'll explore some of the reasons as to why students frequently use drugs. Peer pressure is one of the most common reasons. Students pressure their friends into using drugs. It may be an individual friend or a group of friends. Another reason is simply boredom. Students may view drinking and drugs as a good time, yet not realize its unintended consequences. There is a social aspect, especially when it comes to alcohol use. Alcohol is sometimes used by shy and quiet students as a way of opening up a bit. Lastly, drugs and alcohol may be used to mask or heal any emotional pain. However, it never solves any of these emotional problems or pain. Remember, none of these reasons justify the associated dangers of using drugs and alcohol. Continuing with the presentation, we'll look at some of the responsibilities of educators, friends, and family. All school staff are responsible for their students' safety according to both state and federal laws. Schools must put in place various drug prevention programs to help curb drug use. One example includes the DARE prevention program. If you are a friend or relative of a student with a drug habit, it's so important that you get that student or friend help. And teachers, you have a legal responsibility to report student drug use. The next section will provide a brief overview of several different drugs and their accompanying symptoms. We'll begin by taking a look at alcohol. First off, alcohol is one of the most accessible of all categories. Students may simply take alcohol from their parents or siblings. Alcohol is in use in many social settings. This obviously includes parties. Children notice this is acceptable in many adult settings. One of the biggest dangers of drinking alcohol is the risk of getting alcohol poisoning. Alcohol poisoning often occurs at college campuses. Some of the symptoms we should be on the lookout for in students include slurring speech, smell of alcohol, stumbling, loud talking, drowsiness, being aggressive, having hangover-like symptoms, and light sensitivity. Now, I want to take a quick break and ask that you please subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Also, you can find a full slides presentation lesson in the description below. The next drug in the presentation is marijuana, sometimes called pot, weed, herb, bud, trees. It has many different names. People often take this drug because they believe it will help them become relaxed. Marijuana is the most commonly used drug, and its consumption is on the rise in adults. It is a plant found all throughout the world, and its leaves are removed, dried, and used to be smoked. Its chemical THC is sometimes vaped instead. Be on the lookout for these symptoms in students: increased appetite, lung irritation, bloodshot eyes, mood changes, and having slow coordination. Moving forward, we come up to heroin. Heroin falls under the classification of narcotics or opioids. Students may get acquainted with these narcotics when using them to treat painful injuries. Heroin affects a person's senses, and users describe it as a feeling of euphoria. Heroin is derived from morphine and used to treat pain, but is a much faster acting substance, and it is consumed as a white or brown powder. Symptoms of heroin include the following: pale skin, short breaths, constricted pupils, slow responses, flushed skin, convulsion, nodding off, and drowsiness. The next drug to be covered is cocaine. Cocaine is highly addictive. It also creates a euphoria and alertness that can cause individuals to seek more and more. Users will immediately begin to build a tolerance to the drug, meaning they require more and more of the drug to feel its full effect. Cocaine is a stimulant. It sort of speeds up things for the user of the drug. It also brings about increased energy. Now, here's a list of some of the symptoms, which include body tremors, repetitive actions, hand shaking, high energy, anxiety, extreme fatigue, lack of focus, and having no appetite. Continuing, we come upon methamphetamines, or just meth. Meth can be consumed as a powder, a pill, or the commonly used crystalline form known as crystal meth. Repeated use of this dangerous drug can lead to facial disfigurement, and a person becomes a quote meth head. Just Google the faces of meth and you'll see what I mean. Meth is also a stimulant, leading to increased energy. Students that take this will feel like they can stay up forever. Here are some of the symptoms you'll find in users of meth: violent behavior, high body temperature, mood swings, tooth decay, skin sores, no appetite, body tremors, and insomnia. Now we're really moving along and we come up to ecstasy, or MDMA. Ecstasy is known as a club drug or dance party drug. It's very popular with the younger crowd. When crushed from a pill, MDMA is often mixed with alcohol and found at parties. Users report becoming very empathetic and being in a heightened state of emotions. They usually feel very loving. Here is a list of the symptoms: sweating, having the chills, raised body temperature, blurred vision, clenching teeth, having sleep issues, increased pulse, dehydration, and nausea. The next drug to be covered is LSD, lysergic acid diethylamide. LSD is a synthetic drug, meaning it was created using man-made materials as opposed to using natural ingredients. LSD is notorious for its hallucinogenic properties. Hallucinogenic effects are mostly psychological and have little to no effect on the physical body. LSD has intense effects, including out-of-body experiences, and is usually orally consumed in paper squares. You can recognize students that use this drug because they may exhibit the following symptoms, such as vomiting, distorted thinking, having flashbacks, memory loss, paranoia, slow movements, senses mixing, and bizarre actions. And we arrive at magic mushrooms, or just shrooms. Shrooms are formerly known as psilocybin. This drug is usually consumed orally or eaten either fresh or dry. Mushrooms are found naturally throughout the world and is sometimes used in recipes. This drug is a hallucinogen. It is not addictive. However, it may cause psychotic episodes for students that consume this drug. Some of the symptoms to be on the lookout for include increased sense numbness, anxiety, disorientation, panic, having the chills, a lack of focus, and hallucinations. As we finish up this presentation, the last drug study here is Adderall. Adderall may be prescribed to treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in children. It is effective when used properly. Many students take this drug because they feel the need to focus, and they believe it will help. Users say that this drug alters their personality. Adderall is also used to treat narcolepsy. Students, again, use this drug to stay awake and cram for tests and study. Some of the signs to be on the lookout for include being talkative or socially withdrawn, overworking, weight loss, hygiene issues, memory loss, being very secretive, and getting extra sleep from staying up so late. Now, let me end this presentation with a quote from a musician that died from an overdose. Drugs are a waste of time. They destroy your memory and your self-respect and everything that goes along with your self-esteem. Right now, I just want to say thank you for your time. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the thumbs up button, and get the slides presentation in the description link below.
Okay, guys, that was 9.5 minutes about drugs and alcohol that are available. One of the ones they didn't mention is glue sniffing, shown in this picture here. And they did mention that drugs are a big problem for poverty-stricken areas. And most of, yes, Philip, go ahead and get some water. Most of the problems here in this country are caused by poverty. For example, glue sniffing. Alcohol is a problem throughout the world. It's a problem here because the stores don't really verify that you're 18 years old to buy alcohol. they're happy to sell it to you. Anyway, it's just this video that you watched was an introduction of the things to be aware of. They talked about meth, which is called shabu here. That's another one of the big problems. Most of you guys, in fact, all of you guys come from middle class or better families. So you don't have the poverty forcing you into drugs. The one thing that was important to me when I was growing up was peer pressure. And the last video that we're going to watch talks about peer pressure. That's the one where your buddies and friends try to get you to join them having a beer or smoking marijuana or whatever. And I will tell you that nothing good comes out of it when you're 15, 16, 17 years old. And you're better off if you wait until you get older where you can make logical decisions before you take any drugs or alcohol. Is there anyone that would like to make a comment about drugs or alcohol? Okay. Next slide, please. All right, this one we're going to talk about the dangers of smoking and nicotine. Nicotine is the addictive drug in cigarettes and different items that people smoke. I will tell you that I've been a victim of this bad habit for many, many years, and I've had health issues with it. I would just tell you to stay away from smoking and focus on your athletic stuff because you're not going to have any breath. Won't be able to breathe if you take up smoking, and there's other diseases attributed to it, with the worst ones being cancers and subsequent death. All right, so let's watch this 5-minute video about the dangers of smoking.
Cigarettes aren't good for us. That's hardly news. We've known about the dangers of smoking for decades, but how exactly do cigarettes harm us? Let's look at what happens as their ingredients make their way through our bodies and how we benefit physically when we finally give up smoking. With each inhalation, smoke brings its more than 5,000 chemical substances into contact with the body's tissues. From the start, tar, a black resinous material, begins to coat the teeth and gums, damaging tooth enamel and eventually causing decay. Over time, smoke also damages nerve endings in the nose, causing loss of smell. Inside the airways and lungs, smoke increases the likelihood of infections, as well as chronic diseases like bronchitis and emphysema. It does this by damaging the cilia, tiny hair-like structures whose job it is to keep the airways clean. It then fills the alveoli, tiny air sacs that enable the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the lungs and blood. A toxic gas called carbon monoxide crosses that membrane into the blood, binding to hemoglobin and displacing the oxygen it would usually have transported around the body. That's one of the reasons smoking can lead to oxygen deprivation and shortness of breath. Within about 10 seconds, the bloodstream carries a stimulant called nicotine to the brain, triggering the release of dopamine and other neurotransmitters, including endorphins, that create the pleasurable sensations which make smoking highly addictive. Nicotine and other chemicals from the cigarette simultaneously cause constriction of blood vessels and damage their delicate endothelial lining, restricting blood flow. These vascular effects lead to thickening of blood vessel walls and enhance blood platelet stickiness, increasing the likelihood that clots will form and trigger heart attacks and strokes. Many of the chemicals inside cigarettes can trigger dangerous mutations in the body's DNA that make cancers form. Additionally, ingredients like arsenic and nickel may disrupt the process of DNA repair, thus compromising the body's ability to fight many cancers. In In fact, about 1 of every 3 cancer deaths in the United States is caused by smoking. And it's not just lung cancer. Smoking can cause cancer in multiple tissues and organs, as well as damaged eyesight and weakened bones. It makes it harder for women to get pregnant, and in men, it can cause erectile dysfunction. But for those who quit smoking, there's a huge positive upside with almost immediate and long-lasting physical benefits. Just 20 minutes after a smoker's final cigarette, their heart rate and blood pressure begin to return to normal. After 12 hours, carbon monoxide levels stabilize, increasing the blood's oxygen carrying capacity. A day after ceasing, heart attack risk begins to decrease as blood pressure and heart rates normalize. After 2 days, the nerve endings responsible for smell and taste start to recover. Lungs become healthier after about 1 month, with less coughing and shortness of breath. Delicate, hair-like cilia in the airways and lungs start recovering within weeks and are restored after 9 months, improving resistance to infection. By the 1-year anniversary of quitting, heart disease risk plummets to half as blood vessel function improves. 5 years in, the chance of a clot forming dramatically declines, and the risk of stroke continues to reduce. After 10 years, the chances of developing fatal lung cancer go down by 50%, probably because the body's ability to repair DNA is once again restored. 15 years in, the likelihood of developing coronary heart disease is essentially the same as that of a non-smoker. There's no point pretending this is all easy to achieve. Quitting can lead to anxiety and depression resulting from nicotine withdrawal. But fortunately, such effects are usually temporary, and quitting is getting easier thanks to a growing arsenal of tools. Nicotine replacement therapy through gum, skin patches, lozenges and sprays may help wean smokers off cigarettes. They work by stimulating nicotine receptors in the brain and thus preventing withdrawal symptoms without the addition of other harmful chemicals. Counseling and support groups, cognitive behavioral therapy, and moderate intensity exercise also help smokers stay cigarette-free. That's good news, since quitting puts you and your body on the path back to health. If you want to see more videos on building healthy habits, check out this playlist. If you want to help support TED-Ed's non-profit mission, please consider making a small donation at patreon.com/TED-Ed.
Okay, guys, so the best advice I can give you to smoking and tobacco is just to stay away from it. Just say no to it. You'll be tempted as you get older. Most of you guys that are involved in sports will be smart enough not to get involved in smoking. Does anybody have any comments they'd like to make about smoking or nicotine? Okay, next slide, please. All right, this 3-minute video is going to go over the things that helps you say no to your peers, peer pressure, and you'll encounter that. If you haven't already, you will as you get older. You'll encounter peer pressure in school to have a beer, smoke marijuana, maybe smoke a cigarette. So this video will give you some answers that you can use when a friend asks you to participate in one of those things. Let's go ahead and watch this video.
Hey, Mr. Earl, I need some help. Oh, hey, wait, how may I help you? I'm trying to figure out what to say for school. It is Say No to Drugs Week, and I have to talk in front of an assembly on what to do if someone offers you drugs. I don't even know where to start. Well, I would start with peer pressure. A lot of kids are using drugs because of peer pressure. What is peer pressure, Mr. Earl? Peer pressure is when kids or people you know trying to talk you into doing something that you don't want to do. So like when Frankie keeps pushing me to go and play baseball. I can't even stand baseball. Like that? Exactly.
A lot of kids are introduced to drugs by people they know.
Well, what type of drugs are there, Mr. Earl?
Well, first, a drug is a substance that changes how your body works, like pills, syrup, drops, sprays, and injections. There are substances that are illegal, like cocaine, crack, heroin, or methamphetamines. Also, some legal substances are out there, you can find in a store, but if used in the wrong way, are harmful. For example, some people inhale substances like glue, gas from a car, paint from a hardware store, and stuff like that.
Yo, Mr. Earl, I have heard of some kids drinking a substance called alcohol and getting in trouble too.
Okay, there are adults that drink alcohol, but alcohol is a substance, but it's only legal for people over 21. That is because alcohol is a substance that can damage a child's body, and it's illegal for kids under 21 for a reason.
But how can drugs and other substances hurt kids?
They can actually make you hyper, speed up your heart, and even damage your heart, lungs, and other important organs inside your body. They also hurt people by damaging their brains, where it could cause somebody to go into a coma and not be able to wake up or even die.
That sounds scary. How do I say no if someone wants to try to get me to take drugs?
Look, Lee, I know it can be hard to say no to a friend or someone you know, but there are a couple of ways to say no. You can tell them why you have a problem with drugs, like they're illegal, or they're dangerous. You can tell the person offering you the drugs what would happen if you use the drugs, like they could get in trouble at school or with their family, teachers, police, things like that.
Or how about if I use drugs, they can make me sick or they could kill me?
That's what I'm talking about, Lee. There are illegal drugs that can hurt you, so you should feel confident by saying no when someone offers you drugs.
But what about those kids who may be afraid to say no?
Well, they should know that using drugs and abusing substances is not cool at all. Anytime you make a choice to stay away from a dangerous situation, never be afraid to stand up and make a good choice to stay healthy.
What should I do if someone uses drugs in school?
You should let an aide, a teacher, or a principal, anybody there on staff know. School should be a safe place to learn and stay drug-free. So remember, say no to drugs.
I'm with that. I'm down to say no to drugs.
And I hope you had fun learning with FRGSBERG cartoon.
Okay, guys, so that was several answers that you can give your friends if they try to get you to take drugs or smoke cigarettes. Is there anybody that would like to has anybody been asked at this point in your life to take drugs or alcohol or cigarettes? All right, guys. Thank you for showing up today on time. This is task 7C of the second class. I'll get you guys checked off on that on our attendance and status sheet. Jimmy, go ahead and do the closing ceremony if no one has any further business.
Okay, everybody unmute your mics.
Dog.
Unmute. Everybody unmuted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
May the great
Scout
Scoutmaster
Master of all scouts, be with us until we meet again.
True
True
foreign five. Dismiss!
Thank you, guys. See you next week, 9 o'clock next week. Philip, you just send me a message. You had something you was going to tell me about.
Bye.